Welcome back, everyone, to the North American LCS. We are here and ready to go into our second game of our match. Cloud9 taking on Liquid. And, well, Cloud9 players played pretty well overall across the board. One player we gave player of the game to was specifically Jensen in the mid lane with the Vel'Koz. Looked super good.
Yeah, honestly, across the board, they looked really good. And I think, Meteos deserves a lot of credit. He visited all three lanes, impacted all three lanes very, very early. Impact, another guy who had a fantastic game for himself and was able to kind of carve out this huge advantage in the 1v1 against Lorlo.
Yeah, and even their bot lane held up quite well. They were against one of the scarier duo lanes. Ashe, like Sivir Sona is very good. And Alistair, yeah, he has some sustain, but you've got to find the all-ins to turn the lane back around, and they did so very cleanly. Smoothie's individual play was awesome. Sneaky's arrows were on point. And we bring all this up because I know a lot of people are going to blame Sejuani for the champ select, and yes, she's not the greatest early game jungler gank-wise, but you don't lose the game just from champ select. It was the fact that C9 physically won all of their lanes via the way they played, and they snowballed their gold lead so well via the choices they made.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I think that TL's draft, honestly, could have worked. It obviously did not work out, but you cannot judge the worthiness of a champion based on one game. Just as
Mordekaiser's the best champion in the game.
Mordekaiser's not the. And if you lose on one game on Mordekaiser, it's not the worst champion, right?
Yeah.
There's ups and downs, strengths and weaknesses to every champion in League. They all have their place.
But you just got to make sure it fits right.
Exactly.
Sometimes the jigsaw doesn't come together if you pick the wrong things, and I would say Sejuani with all losing lanes, probably not a good thing to go for.
Yeah. Either way, moving into the picks and bans here, Vlad and Shen taken away from Phoenix and Lorlo. I really do like the Vladimir ban against Phoenix. It's something he's just so damn good at. And Malzahar now taken off the table. Sivir and Rek'Sai taken away from Meteos and Sneaky. So a little bit of a change there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Malzahar's been blue side banned actually both games. Liquid took that ban themselves in the first one, and then C9 was like, you know what though? You can play it, and apparently they're afraid of what the counter picks might be with this one, so seem to be not willing to blind pick it themselves, and don't let Phoenix play the champion.
A little bit interesting because Jensen has done well against it with Zilean. He's been using that quite well. So, it's something that they have left through in the past and have felt comfortable to deal with, but it can also not even be about the lane. It can simply be about the dynamic that changes with Malzahar in the game, as far as team fighting, as far as roaming potential or whatever. So there's a lot of thought that goes into these picks.
And when you consider the fact that they really, really want to play Ashe here, it seems like they've prioritized that very heavily here in this one. That's what they wanted to go for. And with the Sivir banned off, he's the clear sort of next go-to AD carry in most teams' minds. And playing the tier list, I think first pick Ashe actually might make sense. Rex has off the table, so you could trade junglers back and forth without too much worry. It kind of lines up. I understand the logic.
Especially if Phoenix does not want to play Cleanse. If you don't want to play Cleanse, Sneaky can continue moving to the mid lane, looking for picks there. He's a guy who's very comfortable on this. Another sniper champion he excels at, obviously Jhin. He's one of the guys who kind of popularized the champion on its release, and always a guy to really kind of pioneer these new builds, these new champions when they do come out, because he plays so much solo queue. He's always in there.
And I really appreciate players that play that many games. Sneaky streaming every single day. Like, a lot of these players are doing this, but look, being first to the champion is a really big deal. And I think, you have obviously very strict scrim schedules. You don't want to waste a game. You don't want to come out and practice 5 games of, let's say, Teemo, and have it not be worthwhile. And you just lost 5 hours of practice time. But if you're just playing random ranked games, like, look, try to win, but like this is your time to try things out and come in the next block of scrim, say, hey, I really think Jin's good. Let's try it out here, right? And you come in with it, and you're like, oh, you're right. And being first is a big deal. Who else is playing Vel'Koz? Still not banned. Jensen's 2-0, smashing both times on it. Who else playing Vel'Koz? Really no one.
Yep.
At least in North America.
Yeah, no one so far. And sometimes it does take that first kind of pioneer to really bring it to light and to have people take notice and start practicing it themselves. But it's going to be Karma and Jhin, very likely in the bot lane, although Karma, of course, can be a flex. And another sniper champion coming out here. We do have Jhin with that very long-range ultimate, has seen a lot of success here in the LCS.
And it allows Liquid to do what they do best. Like, Liquid in the sort of post Piglet era is a team fighting team. It's them saying, let's get the engage tools in with Matt, get the engage tools with Fabi, let's start things out. And look, Jhin starts to snipe, lands a couple of slows, and Karma sends that team in with the mantra and Inspire. And this makes sense, right? It fits the Liquid brand of League of Legends, the way they play most of their games. These champs make sense for them as a team, and it's just about finding a comp that fits with that. Look, Hecarim is great, extra synergy with Karma, the in-combat movement speed, going to give you a little bit more damage. Why the heck not? All positive things.
All super good, also super good against Ashe. You know, that was something I was maybe thinking that was going to come out last time around when we did see that earlier Ashe pick, and it did not come out. Obviously, they did elect to go with Sejuani. Didn't work out for them in game 1, but it's going to be a lot of dive here, so you have that kind of chaos that is brought out by this Jhin ultimate, and then you have obviously the Hecarim, the Aurelia sped up by this Karma, and they're able to dive in there and really kind of get on top of some of these carries.
And this was the interesting thing about the C9 draft is they delayed their, they dropped the Aurelia ban they had from before because that's like the sort of notable counterpick to Gnar, and clearly Impact is willing to play the matchup once again. He didn't want to play against Shen, Vlad, etc. But well, now you got the worst matchup for yourself because of the way your band's shaped up, but you know they weren't even willing to delay that champion. They actually allow Liquid to counterpick top lane as well as counterpick mid lane, and usually I'm very concerned when that happens because, like right here, what is C9 really losing by blind picking a support when you already know you're against 90% Jhin Karma anyway? Yeah. But they blind pick the Gnar and give TL 2 counterpicks, which now lets them get through Hecarim's not the best early game ganking and go do cool stuff.
So this is interesting. LeBlanc is actually going to get picked in here. So it's blind click LeBlanc essentially, and unless they're assuming that it is going to be a different kind of support, it is going to be that Karma. So Jensen looking to bring back a little assassination flavor here. Braum locked in to work down with this Ashe, and they will have a lot of CC with the Braum, with the Gnar, you know, be able to follow up and proc those stuns.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about this, right, is again, I tunnel on the solo lane counterpick situation, but C9 learned nothing about the bot lane before they picked this Braum. No new information was gained in any single way, except now they gave 2 counterpicks over, which again, like, makes me believe I don't really understand what they're going for with the pick order. Either way, here's LeBlanc, the blind pick. The Karma could flex mid, or they find whatever they want. Lissandra's one that we know is quite good. You talk about trying to bring Cleanse in the mid lane. Well, now you're against a targeted stun, and does LeBlanc really even want to do that when she wants Ignite or Teleport for sure?
No, I certainly don't think that on LeBlanc you're going to go for that Cleanse, and you'll just kind of have to deal with that. I also feel because specifically on LeBlanc, you really do kind of have such a need to snowball, right? You have to be able to dominate. You have to be able to get these early kills in these picks. In straight up 5v5 team fights, your effectiveness is generally a lot lower. You have to be able to find these picks, move to the side lanes, roam around. People have been doing this more and more with TP. In the past, it was almost exclusively Ignite, but people have been finding success, you know, just with that teleport. Even TP flanks and stuff early, especially if you're in lane swap scenarios where the turret is down, you can find these TP in and assassinate people.
And I think they do have a road in on that bot lane. It's Braum against a ranged support, meaning if you land the flash exhaust, the flash Q, 90% of the time you do it right, that is a kill. So I expect him to head to that bot side of the map. Jensen right now looks like he is bringing that teleport as you were talking about, the plays you can make with that. And I think the hotspot is down there because otherwise you're trying to gank a Gnar Aurelia lane, which is a losing matchup for Impact, unless he outplays it, which of course he can, but the odds are that's not the case. So it seems like C9 are going to be kind of dogpiling the bot side of the map. They've got that early game ganker in Gragas. He can definitely do some really good things here. You expect him to outpace Stardock on Hecarim, who's once again playing the slightly slower jungler as far as sort of clear speed and early pressure goes, which will probably work pretty well because passively the lanes are winning. It just requires the Gragas and the Blanc interference to make that not the case.
You especially have to be a little bit extra worried about Lorlo playing Aurelia. This guy is known for his Aurelia. He's so good at it, but we'll have to give the benefit of the doubt over to Impact, who has been on a tear and absolutely dominating recently, especially a lot of early impact here from Gragas, as you said, to look for that, and we'll see what they really can get rolling, because sometimes those lane advantages don't mean much if you get put behind by the jungler, and Dardoch and Lorlo do work very well together, but I would say I'd prefer to have the Gragas on my team early in the game.
And so Meteos coming into this game wearing the skin of the Season 1 World Champions in Fnatic, who have not been having the best split for themselves, but we'll hope that he can go to Worlds just like they have done so many times.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I believe it would be Meteos' 3rd trip, as he missed it in 2015.
Yeah. And so this is clever. This is something that has become more and more popular from TL, as well as some of the other teams, basically to counteract the fact that they're assuming their opponents will want to lane swap. You deny the advantage of getting those deep wards by just simply moving straight to lane, waiting in the bush. So even if C9 comes in and gets that deep ward, which they didn't do this game, but even if they do, they can't actually spot where your bot lane duo is moving. So it does kind of put you in this awkward situation where you're forced to guess. And if C9 moves topside, then they will have guessed wrong. But for now, it looks like they're going to be staying bot side. And I think that will be nice for them because generally speaking, Karma should have an advantage against Braum in the early lanes. And we've already spoken about it. You know, Relia should kind of have that advantage against Gnar. So I think C9 is going to be happy to get the lane swap.
Yeah, good for them. They managed to guess properly, and Liquid went for the gamble, and it did not pay off. Coin flip came up tails, and sad face for them. So in a lane swap, Liquid, of course, able to grab their blue buff on the greedy side of the map. They're going to be okay with this one, and you're seeing a very similar situation with Cloud9's own jungle duo. Smoothie and Sneaky grab Krug spots fine, but it's Impact and Meteos who were able to take Gromp into blue, and looks like neither jungler will lose any of this side of it.
Impact-wise to their tricks, not going to take too much damage there as it has become very common.
But he doesn't get the XP, and that's the big thing, actually. He was able to chase off the Gnar, whereas Lorlo is actually walking out of lane with all 3 melees under his belt. He actually got the last hits on the... Oh, shoot! Smoothie! Well, forget what you know about advantages. You're gone.
The C9 bot lane duo takes Gromp and Krugs.
Gromp and Krugs.
Not bad.
Can they get Wolves too? Yeah, you got little one. Pretty sure.
2 1/3 camp. That's what we'll give.
Oh my gosh. I have never seen a support start the game this good. Smoothie continues to play ridiculously well in this series.
Certainly has been on fire. And they are making the rotation now. TP comes in from Impact onto that minion, which is being focus fired. Obviously gives them that extra time to do damage here. And both teams will look to kind of clear this up and toss over that solo gold.
Savvy running a little bit low on health, but he's fine. Notice that the way these teams are playing the lane swap, basically the champions tank all of the minion damage, and that way they're able to kill the turret
Look, mid lane, Meteos is here.
But can he even make it happen? He's going to land the barrel for some damage. Not terribly much done. Jensen had minion aggro the whole time, so he took it almost as bad as he gave it there, honestly. Phoenix temporarily up in health right now.
Phoenix is honestly really intelligent to stay in the midst of the minions to make it almost impossible for Meteos to land that body slam because that's what he wanted to go for as the body slam flash, but did not have the ability. Ooh, that was close.
He's okay though. He made it. He's going to be alive. And Lorlo, the 3-minute 30-second turret kill. Similar timing here for C9. And they're actually going to not share the gold. It will be just Impact. Sneaky knows the radius. Just the 100 global. Properly juggled. Looks like both top laners in this lane swap are going to be shoving their waves, expecting the duos to rejoin them.
Yeah,
Impact was correct in that assessment.
Gnar didn't get enough time to actually get much of anything there. Really had a lot more free time because they took that turret first. So he's able to kind of stay around, shove that out, and Lorlo with 10 CS compared to just 2 from Impact because of this.
And XP-wise, he's actually up exactly a full level. Some of that was getting to leech rather, the very first wave. But yeah, Liquid going for a much faster paced lane swap choice of the decisions there are. They made that one, and were able to secure an advantage for the top lane matchup. It's supposed to already win, but the choices they made this matchup even better. You should expect to see even more out of Lorlo.
And generally when there's that much of an advantage on one side, you expect the other team to have gotten something from it. But in this case, C9 really didn't get anything. It's not like their AD carry is massively ahead or anything like that. So a nice little edge there from Lorlo, well played by him, and just the faster lane swap. A little bit better execution there, and obviously something to do with the champions as well. You know, having the Karma with the spell thieves, a little bit more damage on the turrets. You can sometimes poke them down faster, and Meteos now steals away.
Nicely done by him. Yeah, it is technically, I suppose, a barrel, root, nice damage. Good job on the Phoenix. The funny thing is, technically, that golden XP, most of it did go to Sneaky, right? Like, that whole team was around for one more wave. That whole XP was shared by Smoothie and co. So technically, it didn't go nowhere, but it certainly didn't go to Impact as heavily as it did to Lorlo. So you mentioned the AD carry not being massively ahead. He's slightly ahead, but that just might not mean anything.
Yeah.
Round 2, the lane swap concludes with these turrets going down. Once again, Lorlo should be getting solo gold. He will do so, and Babby is... Actually, can't tell if he's going to be in range. I think he knows. Yeah, it's actually a pretty short radius for the local turret gold. This time around, C9 did share. They continue to put a lot of resources onto Sneaky, actually. It's kind of 2 different situations where they chose, once again...
Dardock's actually looking here. Wants to go for the dive.
On to Jensen, who's very low on mana, but it's so risky to go for that when you know you can flash away from the wall and...
Yeah, didn't actually flinch. And I think in this case, Dardock was actually just trying to get him to stop his recall to miss out on some of these minions. And Jensen kind of calls the bluff. He was watching him, felt safe to complete the recall, and does so.
Yeah, so they both were able to recall off of Negatron Cloak plus double Doran's Ring. And actually, Phoenix himself able to also get boots on that one.
Dardock's looking top. Impact's pretty far up here, and he's got to be really careful. He's low. This is bad. There's no turret there for him. They could maybe run him down here.
He has Flash. How good's the hop going to be? Gets off to the side. Actually bounces off of Dardock, and now flashes to run, but be careful because he's still got the chase. And yeah, it's going to be the kill picked up. First blood goes through. Nicely ganked by Dardock. Impact did not have the wards he needed to be safe. And that's a bit on C9, not giving him the vision.
It is,
Meteos
but
does have a sight stone.
He shouldn't have been there, and you have to make the best of the situation that you're given. If you don't have the vision, sometimes you just have to sacrifice that, and it's going to put him in a horrible spot because Lorlo is getting so far ahead here, and you could just see he's so far up. Just the level 3 to level 5 here of Dardock, and Flash away was not going to accomplish anything with Ghost still available. Dardock easily picks up first blood, and the advantage is expanding here for Lorlo, and they're indexing heavily towards that.
Right, ooh, and Dardock looks towards the bot side as well. Looks like he won't find him in a kill. He will fight for the blue buff, and once that goes over...
Level 6 on Meteos. They do have to be a bit careful.
Nice. Well timed. The barrel gives vision. Pulled into the brush or not, doesn't matter. Presses Q and D at the same time. They're both instant cast. You pretty much can't screw that up as long as you know how to hit two buttons at the exact same time.
Oh, I can screw it up, Freak.
You
You
can.
obviously haven't seen me jungle too much.
And actually, for anyone who follows Counter-Strike drama, careful with your jump binds. Letting go of fire and pressing jump at the same time, banned in some circles.
Oh, wow.
Pressing two buttons at the same time is apparently an important mechanical skill, depending on the game you play.
There you go. Lorlo now trying to help out Dardock, take away this blue buff, and it looks like it's just going to be gifted over. So, you know, both teams kind of focusing on opposite sides of this. And Lorlo may be able to try to pull off a dive. If Dardock gets 6 here, let's see how close he is. Probably going to be able to grab it off this camp, I would imagine. And does have enough health and mana, so they could look for something. But Meteos up here on this side of the map, and it's going to be important for them to not have Impact get any further behind. He needs to try to get this XP, pick up this farm, and make sure that he does not become a liability.
We'll see what they get with this one. Jensen is keeping himself fine in the mid lane, and yeah, Impact
Smoothie moving up.
be okay. Yeah, if you're seeing roams. Of course, the map is very opened up because we're in a post lane swap game. So the roams are a really big deal. You can leave your lane for a long time because you're not going to lose any turret damage to chip because the minions have to travel for like 3 minutes to get there, and it means your decision making changes quite a lot.
And Jensen playing it very safe. You know, never W'd forward, and had he likely would have gotten ulted by Phoenix into the ultimate from Dardock and probably gone down. So it definitely had to play it very carefully there. Was not aware that the jungler was in position, but kind of maybe sensed it or knew that it was a possibility.
And interestingly, kind of looking at all of this, C9 has managed to keep the gold basically identical. They've actually got a minor lead with how they played this, despite the extra kill Liquid got, and even though they had a very huge local advantage on the Lorlo, that's been equalized pretty well.
I think a fair bit of that I would guess is...
Ooh, another route into Jin's gonna land also. Wow, good aim. It actually went through both Jensen and his return portal, so he had no way of getting away from it. That's pretty nice stuff right here. Sneaky actually freezing right now on the bot side of the map. Now, that does allow Liquid to theoretically go for a Drake play, but that's not going to be in the cards for them. They're actually pushing top side. And I don't know if this turret's really going to take any meaningful damage, though. Are you really going to knock down top tier 2 like this?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And they maybe just try to set up a dive here or perhaps go to Rift Herald. You can see Dardock is ready to go for it, but Jensen does have Flash, has his...
And Fabi's just now 6. So now they have the tools actually to go for this one. Jensen's got to be
it.
very smart. He's got W,
Smoothie's
R,
coming around,
and Flash. Smoothie's here to defend. Gragas not far either. Meteos coming from the right-hand side, and Liquid is wasting time right now. They're getting nothing done. Fabi's not in lane. Sneaky's freezing. Okay, they're getting a jungle camp. That's nice, I guess, but...
Yeah, Sneaky's already up 500 gold, and he's the one with the call. So that is going to be pretty nice when he does cash in, and that's where most of the gold lead actually is for C9. Smoothie actually up a couple hundred gold himself, too, because he stole the Gromp, and he's used his Targons very well, while Matt is kind of roaming around and not always getting those spell seed procs.
Right, and this is, again, another very interesting point to talk about, right, is the C9 made the choice to freeze with Ashe. Liquid said, okay, they're freezing, we should punish that. And okay, one of the ways you punish is you try to 5v4 the other side of the map. Of course, Sneaky can't join, he's on bot lane. The way C9 played it, though, there were no seemingly obvious opportunities. The way Jensen played, the way Meteos played, the way Impact played, Smoothie just reinforced the mid lane. They made sure that the typical punish game couldn't do anything.
Exactly.
There were no openings. And again, like, even though the sum total was nothing happened, intelligent plays on both sides to make sure nothing happened.
Exactly, and it's one of those things that's very easily overlooked because it just looks like it was right.
Yeah.
Of course C9 didn't die on the other side of the map while Sneaky was freezing, but there's a lot of little things that go into it and a lot of intuition, playing with imperfect information here. You have to make the assumption of, okay, what would be the best play for them to do? Now, what is the best response to what I think they would do?
Mm-hmm. And not losing as much farm as Sneaky's gaining over Fabi, right? If Jensen and Impact hide, well, it's 2 lanes versus 1. You're losing that play. You've got to actually stay in lanes to not make that a negative. And they played around it very well. So now, again, down a kill. It's Cloud9 up 700 gold.
This freeze is actually becoming a really big problem. It's stayed there way too long, and now TL is moving down to try to break it. Nice steal away from Dardoch. In comes Phoenix.
Here comes the play. The Fear on a smoothie. Curtain call. Hit 1, hit 2, hit 3. The ulti guarantees it. And they picked one off. Sneaky low as well. The flash away from Phoenix. Here comes the teleport timings. And Dardoch is a couple hits away from being a casualty as Impact is going to knock back Lolo. But careful, you gave an Aurelia right in the face of an Ashe. Nice root comes in. Matt has a flash away from Body Slam. Didn't see that coming in.
LeBlanc is roaming down.
And this is the roam, yes. However, it is a dangerous situation for C9 as Smoothie was in base after respawning. And that will be Liquid finally able to capitalize well. A great pickup there on a Smoothie. Good kill. Brings the game a little bit closer.
Yeah, nice little dive in here, and they commit heavily. A lot of ultimates being dropped there on the Smoothie, but they, thankfully for them, do pick it up. And Sneaky very close to being in some trouble here, but they're able to get enough trade damage back to actually force them out. And as we did see, nothing really amounted to the rest of that fight. Jensen was able to push in that mid lane wave, got a slight CS advantage before roaming down, but the kill going over to Phoenix is an edge to him.
And the thing is, like, Liquid got a kill and the gold lead got worse. It's now 1100. Like, this is the world that Liquid are living in where, look, they're making plays that are rewarded for them in the scoreboard. You press tab, you're like 2-0, sick. But the scoreboard they can't see is the one that we can, which is you're down 1,000 gold.
Well, just look at the 80 carry items.
Yeah.
80 carry gold, right? This is something that you know is a problem as a professional player. And Jensen takes away that blue buff. Well done by C9. We'll see if Liquid tries to return to the other side and grab that. But as the cull pops, this advantage is just going to get bigger and bigger for Sneaky. And it can become problematic. And this is something that happens to Fabi, honestly, a decent amount. He has had some games where he has really fell far behind in lane. And when you get too far behind in lane, as a Jhin especially, it becomes a very big problem to punch through the front line of guys like Braum and Gragas and Dinar, who you already will struggle with.
Definitely agree. So let's see if they can get through this difficult world right here. C9 right now shoving down in the bot lane and yeah, looking okay with plenty of damage here. Impact pulls aggro. Takes more shots than he needed to, but gets out. Although getting as much as he can. Jensen tries to trade on a Phoenix. Phoenix respects him quite a bit. He gets out of this one as they both move towards their opening items. No major completions yet for either Mage or either AD carry here. So again, looking for the trade. A great route and ulti. This could be the death of Jensen. Turret shot's going to go in and bit off more than he could chew. Gets in a turret range. Huge mistake. But it does mean a Drake for C9.
Yeah, they get the Dragon and they'll take the trade, but there was no need to go for that from Jensen. And a little bit of disrespect to Phoenix, honestly, thinking that he would not be able to react fast enough, and Phoenix makes him pay. Solo kill on Jensen there. Off to a good start.
Phoenix has been getting those roots all game. Just the core mistake is that Jensen thinks, well, I can just win the trade. We'll just trade our spells back and forth. But the fact that he got in a turret range with it is, well, now you're opening up the ult. And that was, of course, very well played by Phoenix.
And here it is. And look how fast Phoenix is to this. He anticipates it, lands the W into the ultimate, perfectly chained. Jensen does try to distortion back, but it's too little too late as he took a lot of tower shots there and just really well played from
Very
Phoenix.
well played. Absolutely agree. So, Liquid 3-0 in kills. Gold now tied because of their efforts. And it's basically Sneaky the one with the major lead, but the fact that he's been able to farm so darn much going towards the Essence Reaver build. So high cooldown reduction, very frequent enchanted crystal arrows from that Ashe, the ultimate.
Yeah, and they are setting it up. You can see them around here. Sneaky sitting in that mid lane bush. They're looking for the arrow.
Can't quite find it. This is the cool thing as well is they have that, I'm going to say it, sorry internet, that recently buffed Cloud Drake, so they can follow up on those Ashe arrows very quickly. Right, the team is able to get into range, even though they have no move speed buffs themselves. The objective they grabbed actually helping them quite a bit with that part.
Yeah. And although Impact did have a little bit of a snafu in the early game, did give up that kill, he has stayed even against Lorlo, and it has not really kind of ballooned into anything. So far, Impact is doing pretty well for himself. AD carry definitely goes the way of C9 right now. And the advantages for TL are much more about the mid laner, but Sneaky may get chased down here.
Dardoch pops Ghost, has a red buff. Sneaky's life is bad, and he's just going to try to run and get feared and die. And now Jensen, why even bother teleporting? Like, they should just know he's dead. Of course, the timer takes so long he wasn't part of the fight. And Phoenix canceled his own. He didn't need to join that one anymore. A great pickup, though, by Dardoch all the same. Nicely done by him. And actually, the weird thing is, 3 of Liquid's 4 kills are solo kills. There's only been assists on that one bot lane dive. Everyone else is literally solo killing their opponents.
Yeah, they are. And a couple of those are Dardoch's, the solo kill on Impact in the early game. Now a solo kill here on Sneaky, and you got to be careful about that. Being in those side lanes by himself on an Ashe, it's not something that you can really outduel Hecarim on at almost any stage of the game.
Well, we talked about, they're in really long lanes. It's very hard to kind of work with that kind of information and making the right choices based on imperfect information. Dardoch gallops down the lane from Fog of War, and the thing is, he can do that at any time he ever wants to, and C9 lost track of where Dardoch was. They didn't know he was on the bot side of the map, but he was, and Sneaky was snuck up on.
Definitely, and Dardoch could be off to the races. 2-0 start, has the Trinity Force completed. We've seen a lot of snowballed games here from Hecarim's this season, and it can be very, very frightening, but Lorlo up pretty far here. Meteos may look for him. Decides to back off.
Liquid got a 4th kill and is once again down in gold. Like, C9, it's funny, right?
Popped.
Yeah, that popped a little while ago. That popped at the, I think at the 2 for 0 or 3 for 0 mark. I mean, it's definitely part of it, right? Obviously, that's not nothing. 450 gold to this lead is literally just an item he bought that turned into 450 gold. So that's totally relevant. But, we talk about, again, making optimal choices with imperfect information. One thing I like to talk about is expected value as well. What's the chance to get ganked? What's the gold lead I get if I don't? And essentially, C9's plays, expected value-wise, have gone positive. Yes, Impact will at some point die. Sneaky will at some point die. But if I got 600 gold of farm for a 450 gold kill, I made the right choice. Yeah, and this keeps happening.
You certainly can't play perfectly safe, and you can't play in a way where you're never possible to die because you put yourself so far behind that it won't actually matter that you're alive.
It's worse than dying, literally.
It is. Fate worse than death, being a feeder in League of Legends.
Sometimes both happen.
Dardoch's coming in.
The flash engage, they found Sneaky. Bramulti stops Dardoch, and now Ashen as well, but he does not have aggro, so he just ults right back out. The onslaught of shadows, and Impact's in a 1v2, turned back around on by Lorlo, and the chase is in. Another huge mistake now by Impact. The re-engage, though, they catch off Matt on the side. A good pickup there thanks to Jensen and Meteos. And now it's Liquid suffering their first death of the game.
And it goes the way of Jensen, who's going to be looking to split push. Has no TP for a while. Phoenix is going to have his a little bit faster as he did cancel that, and Jensen let his complete. But pushing in these sideways, we're going to see Sneaky get over there to collect his. Will Dardoch go for anything? And here it is once again. Smoothie and Sneaky here in the mid lane. Meteos was ready for it. Nice Braum E there, blocking a lot of those shots, but then it's the ultimate onto Sneaky. A good disengage there from Smoothie, actually delaying Dardoch to come in, and Impact overreaches, tries to go over, and I think once he went in, he needed to commit for this and try to get Mega. Go for an extra auto, see if you can Mega out, maybe solo out that guy, but on the other side, Jensen does pick up the support kill, and we'll need to get a lot more of that done. Wants to try to look for these picks, especially on squishy characters like the Jhin, like the Karma, and try to get some kills there, and Dardoch actually going very aggressive here. He's looking for a Ghostblade likely. Could be a
wow. Yeah, Ma is also a possibility, but the only magic damage deal that you care about is the LeBlanc. Certainly enough damage to care about, but yeah, we'll see where it actually goes. Duskblade, you got to go really hardcore, just full Inori,
Yeah, man. He never ended up completing, unfortunately, bought the BF and just sat on it, but yeah, I would guess it's actually the Ghostblade. Ghostblade is fantastic for that kind of assassination Hecarim style. There's almost nothing you can do as an Ashe. You charge up the E, you have the Ghostblade active, you get ulted on, the E essentially one-shots you.
And it's always fun to see what players do with their leads. Because Dardoch could have said, I'm just going to go Sight Stone because it's free for me because I have all these kills. So now our team has better vision control. We can play the rotation game. He could say, I'm going to build more damage and hard carry by finding solo kills or finding dives. He could have said, I'm going to be more invincible and make sure that any dive I go for, I can't be killed for it. All my risks are no longer risky. He's going for the I'm going to carry choice and see what he gets out of it.
There are obviously different approaches to it and different ways to
Oh my gosh, the damage. Sneaky is already dead. Looks like the item choice working out just fine for Dardoch, eviscerating C9's poor AD carry. 0-2-1, and they are now finally in what looks like their first like meaningful gold lead of this game, 300 only, but now up a turret, up 5 kills. And looking at top lane tier 2 as Lorlo's already prepped that side. Ooh, they actually pulled in Phoenix, but he's going to be okay. Puts on the stun to Meteos. One more shot, I'll do it. Down he goes, 7-1. Meteos should not have been there. And another one picked up for Liquid.
Yeah, Meteos wanted the outplay there on Phoenix, trying to use the turret as his ally. Jensen split pushing though. C9's gonna have to back off. This turret is low and it's only 2 members here. At the same time, if Jensen can trade a turret, at least keeps the gold pretty close and he should be able to grab this.
Exactly. By and large, C9 are playing the map pretty well, keeping everything as close as they can. The deficit only 900 for themselves, but Liquid, to their credit, have done such a good job of finding kills and finding the aggressive play and having it work out. They've only given up 1 death all game, and that was in the middle of a team fight where they got a kill and got mid-turret pressure. It's not even a negative trade for them in that case. And if Liquid could get more of that, right, their play style, let's go ham, let's dive, Dardoch hyping it up, diving in, Lorlo on a playmaker like Irelia who can be part of that. That style works.
Yeah, just even the threat of the dive from Irelia and Hecarim is going to mean Sneaky is having trouble getting involved in these fights at all. If you step too far forward, you're just going to die right off the bat, and it's so scary, and the engage range from those two champions is very, very far, as Irelia can Q to a minion, then Q to you. You have to take flash into consideration there, and Dardoch with the ultimate has almost an engage range of a full screen.
And that is a scary thing. Sadly for us, it is going to be Maw.
Okay.
Right, getting the magic as Hex Blinkers in. No sweet, awesome Yomus, but it means that he can get the best of both worlds. He can make sure that he doesn't get one shot by Jensen and screw that one up, but also it's still a lot more damage. It's still plenty of threat onto the back line, and risks definitely around. And you can see like a lot of Liquid still actually buying magic possess. You have a Spectre's Cowl for Meteos, right? You've got the Aegis coming in for Smoothie. And really, it's just for Phoenix, which is a little strange to me, but that's going to be an arrow on a Fabi to flash there right away on top of him. Look at the just
where did he go?
Teamwork.
There was a Jin there a second ago.
Jensen makes his life bar disappear. The magic trick is complete. Mid-turret answer to look at that. C9 back ahead like nothing ever happened this game. One Ash arrow was all they needed to turn that right back in.
And impact on the split push. C9 has done a great job manipulating these mini waves. Lorlo may get caught out here.
Jensen's going for the root, and he's gonna get it. Lorlo's flash was light. He's gone. What the heck? Cloud9 looking great in a game they were losing for only a few minutes.
Dardoch wants Sneaky.
You can't 3v5 this. Don't make that kind of choice, and he's not going to. Hey, Jensen. I guess you're okay. It scared me a little bit, but he's fine. And down goes the minion, and 1,200 gold lead Cloud9. There you go. 3 kills to 7. They're winning.
Looking good, and here is the replay once again. Fabi gets nailed, and no hesitation. Double flash forward, all the ultimates. They wanted that kill. Down goes the Jin. Ouch.
Oh, man. Okay, well, Fabi is respawned. He's going to hope to not die that way again.
Certainly will.
Dardoch smites away the blue. Make sure he gets it for himself. Didn't want to let Meteos or anyone steal it away. That's fine. Liquid, though, not willing to say die, and good for them to go for the aggressive play once more.
Ooh, Jensen.
A nice tackle. Jensen's running out of health. And can he get the snipe? Sneaky blocks some. Smoothie going to block some more. Phoenix really wants in. Gets exhausted, though. Doesn't do quite enough damage. Smoothie safe for now. In the back line they go. It's going to be a trade of kills. AD carry for mid laner. Dardoch to hold in the front line, but running out of health pretty rapidly. He's got to kite back on this one. Impact actually helps you enough.
Mallet is there. They can run down.
Trying the chase, but be careful. He can't become Mega Gnar, so the root's going to be that the chase is in, and Lorlo is a big part of that damage. Liquid come out ahead 2-1.
Impact really kind of overstepped there. As the rest of his team was all leaving, he was going forward, and Liquid sees that there's no one else there. Turn around for a quick and easy kill on Gnar, who is now 0-3.
Yeah, and that is several mistakes from Impact specifically.
And here we have it once again. Look at that early damage. Just the E and a Q is more than half his health there. And then Sneaky, the unfortunate recipient of the Lissandra ult here, going to get just dogpiled on. Does try to flash out, but unfortunately, the Gragas ultimate pushed Dardoch right back on top of him. And they make it a 1-for-1 trade here. And that should have been it. But look, Smoothie's leaving. Meteos is Zoom. He's leaving. And Impact just kind of goes back in. And Meteos is like, well, I can't really do anything for you.
And one of the big skills, actually, to be a pro player, really any game, is essentially foresight. It's being able to play the battle in your mind, right? Will this guy kill me if he goes in or not, right? Will this work out for me? Yes, no. And Impact, kind of in several occasions now, this game has kind of lacked the foresight to say, can I kill him? Yes, no. says yes, the answer is actually no, dies for it, and he's 0-3, some of that being from those decisions he's been kind of screwing up.
And it kind of feels a little bit like you kind of get overconfident because you're having all these good games and you're used to being stronger than you are this game. But the arrow catches Dardoch.
Into the layered CC, but not actually layered well enough. The Braum ulti wasn't in range in time. Onslaught of Shadows, smart by Dardoch, says, hey, if that ulti lands, I probably die. That answer is yes, so I have to ult away.
He also has quite a bit of CDR. You get 20% just from that Trinity Force, so it's not like it's a massive cooldown there. It's only 85 seconds right now. Mountain Dragon going to be coming up pretty soon here, though, and not having it for that can be relatively impactful. You know, if you can't get in there on the team fights. You know, C9 would love to pick up a second mountain here.
Yeah, you mentioned 20 CDR from items. Dardoch is actually at 28.9% thanks to his glyphs, so probably a mix of flat and scaling, and he's got low cooldowns. Mountain Drake goes down. Liquid still suffering through a gold deficit, but they are stacking up some neutral objectives. They've tied the Mountain Drake score down a Cloud Drake, but that's going to be okay for them.
And Dardoch is essentially full assassination build here. Doesn't have Cinderhulk at all.
Oh, wow. Ooh, the knock-in, though, catch them, and because he's squishy, he's down pretty low. Matt's shield helps quite a bit, and it looks like the support is enough to allow him to play this very aggressive build. But you're right, no enchant is in. Meanwhile, Meteos, of course, has his Spirit Visage. Once again, itemized pretty heavily for magic resist.
Yeah, building a GA up now. Maybe a GA here for Impact also. Could be a Thornmail, could be something else, but definitely could be a GA for Meteos. And now second item completed here for Jensen. Picks up a full death cap. So that is going to be really scary for some of these squishy targets. And if he can execute the combo onto Fabi, Fabi's going to have no chance to survive. And C9 trying to set up a pick here, looking if Dardoch's going to get antsy. And here he comes.
Walking around the side. Meteos, oh, he's trying to bait. The team's still around, but Dardoch does not take the bait. Says, where could they be? They could be up there. And they walked immediately, but now Fabi's actually a bit alone, dangling.
Impact holding up Neganar.
Ooh, chunk on a mat, down a half HP. No re-engage yet. Phoenix chooses to wait. Now Impact has the Rage Bar. Asher is going to land it, hits Lorlo, and that's Aurelia flashing away. Impact does not find the engage he wanted, still has ulti. Stunned up, gonna run away, losing health, but gets the stun back on Dardoch and pushes him out. But Impact is out of this fight. The snipe's coming through. Smoothie dangerously low. It looks like Liquid actually holding up the better side of this fight, as C9 now running away with their eponymous Drake.
A very close fight there, but TL does stay alive. And you know, Matt is honestly doing a fantastic job with his shields, absorbing the damage coming in from LeBlanc and not getting picked off. And it's a lot easier said than done as a Karma who's going to be pretty squishy against this two-item LeBlanc.
Definitely some threats to keep in mind. You know, a lot of flat Magic Pen on Jensen. He has the Sork Shoes, and he has the chance to go for Abyssal Scepter whenever he wants it.
Yeah. And he will be building towards it.
Yeah. Should be. I actually forget if Abyssal, because I know it has a Fiendish Codex now. Is it Fiendish Codex plus a Blasting Wand, or is it just Fiendish Codex and a Amplifying Tome? I actually forget the build. I don't play mid lane enough.
Yeah, I know there is a yeah, I don't really play mid lane enough.
Yeah. Normally I'm so good at items, I just, because of role selection, I off-roll so much less, I'm not as up-to-date on my solo lane builds. But anyway, it's going to be Dardoch forced to run a nice route on a Meteos. Ash Arrow actually still forced the flash out of Matt. He was afraid of getting picked off by that, and I think for good reason. Meteos could have layered Explosive Cask on top of it. Cloud9 able to take away control of the Baron Pit, though,
and they're pushing him down mid here. Impact has his TP, but he's pretty far away, and Dardoch is looking.
Confirmed that Blasting Wand is not part of Abyssal Scepter, so yeah, he's actually still
going
for that item. Mid lane tier 2 gonna go down. It brings the gold close again, and maybe this is the engage they want. Phoenix goes in, flash root, finds Sneaky. He gets pushed out. Dardoch's in, misses the fear though, but he's gonna have the damage in order to pick him off. There's a 1-for-1 as Lorlo has also been popped out. Smoothie low on health, doesn't quite get the snipe from Fabi. Jensen wants in, doesn't get the chain on a steed, so with a flash engage comes around by Meteos. The dive again by Smoothie picks that one up, and now Jensen in a world of hurt, so is Meteos. That should be several kills for Liquid, maybe, as Jensen kites out. Impact helps, and they get the shutdown actually. Meteos, the fancy feat, loses the Guardian Angel. Impact does not have Meganar available though, throws in a house. 2 for 2 so far. This is a 3v3 on this fight. Once again, the CC, and they get the pickup nicely done. Phoenix goes down, and Fabi is out of mana. He's out of health as well. The double kill.
They're looking for the ace.
Beautifully done on the back half of the fight. It started 2 for 2. It's going to be 5 for 2. The chase is there. A triple kill for Jensen. What a team fight.
Jensen playing masterfully there as Sneaky went down right away. It looked like it was going to be a disaster fight for Cloud9, but they were able to pull it off. And Impact, with that frozen mallet chasing people down, and the fact that Lorlo went down means they're actually going to try to start this up. And will they actually know this is going on at all? You can see Lorlo's heading over, and they don't have a lot of damage here just yet, but now the cavalry arrives, they can try to rush it.
Dardock can run as far as he can, but it's not going to be enough. The spike comes through, and that is the Baron picked up for Cloud9 as a result of a very well-played fight.
What a
Spoils
swing.
the board, theirs.
Yeah, here we have it once again. So Impact is super far away. They see him actually clearing a ward, they engage. And Sneaky is going to get jumped on right away. Yes, the fear does miss, but watch how fast he goes down as everyone kind of collapsed on him. It looks like it was going to be a disaster here, but Matt is split from the team, and you're going to see Dardock kind of get sectioned off on the side as he wants to go in and try to take down Jensen. He does get the kill on Smoothie, but Impact comes back. He peels for his mid laner, which is going to pay massive dividends later in this fight. And Meteos even doing a good job here, delaying as long as he can. And even though it's a 2v3, Fabi's essentially out of mana. Phoenix has already blown everything. And the GA on Meteos was just so massive in this fight. The fact that he comes right back up, they're able to kill off Phoenix. And he was the last source of damage. So it's an ace for Cloud9 on the back of a really well-played fight.
And really great fancy feat by Jensen. Juke scram with the distortion, then flash W's back in once the CC did land thanks to Meteos. Just a really nicely played fight once again by Cloud9's mid laner. Jensen continued to show that he is a world-class player.
And look at his level. He's 17. He's massively ahead. He's 4 levels up on Lorlo. 2 levels up on the highest other person on TL.
Anywhere in the game.
And I mean, he's massive. He has his full Void Staff completed now. And this guy is going to be fearsome. Magic resist or not, he will pop you if you put yourself in a bad position.
And now it's going to be the quick Chrono Trick. Not even a chance for this one. It's going to drop more stats. If Jensen wasn't scary enough, now he's scarier.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Very rough stuff. And he can essentially 1v1 anyone, I would expect, at this point in the game. And the fact that he has the TP and now the Baron buff means that they may be able to try to exploit that. Baron buff up minions in multiple lanes, but C9 looking.
Splits the uprights, 3 points for Sneaky.
Count it.
Yep. But it's Cloud9 holding this game, and it's got to feel a bit bad for Liquid because they had done so well in finding the kills and finding the ganks and whatnot, but they just haven't been playing the map as strategically as C9 has, who continued to hold lead the whole time. Wow. Nearly that was a kill.
And that's the Mikhails used there by Matt. Quick on the draw for there. Wanted to try to keep Fabi up any way possible, but definitely an important cooldown.
Scary thing, so it's going to be gone for a while. The Ruby Sightstone helps a bit, but it's still several minutes away. Impact is split pushing in the bot side of the map, and he has not seemed to suffer too terribly much from the fact that, the matchup wasn't great. Yeah, he got ganked several times. His score certainly didn't look very good, but I never felt like Lorlo really had owned his side of the map as hard. Jensen has to kite away from Dardock, gets away from 1, Snipe gets away from 2. Smoothie jukes the 3rd, I should say. Dardock gets rooted up, the re-engage for Phoenix, into an arrow, into the root, into the damage output, and they're gonna just kill him off, not even getting to cast a single spell on that one.
And the TP is in. They've overextended hugely, and this could be the game if they kill them all.
It's already 5v3, Jensen gets away from Lorlo, the flash not gonna mean anything. It's just a slaughter now as Cloud9 kicking and screaming and killing everybody. Impact flashes, he's got Fabi in his sights. Hello, goodbye.
Will Cloud9 risk it and try to go for the end? There's some long res timers here on both Phoenix and Lorlo, and Fabi's about to fall. They're already on the inhibitor. They have the minions coming in here pretty soon. Will they try to make the play?
Well, Baron has timed out, but they've got 20 seconds on most of the major respawns.
They want it.
Looking at it, how much can they get? It's up to Nexus turret number 1. The fear comes in. Dardock, ooh, shuts down Jensen. That's a nice one.
And he clears out the minions, so there's the backdoor defense on that last Nexus turret, and Dardock may have actually just saved the game.
He might have. They live to fight another day. Goes to kill out Smoothie. Can't look at the damage. That's a shutdown picked up. And Matt, why are you even here? He walks in to get himself killed. A silly mistake. 2 more picked up for
Lorlo. They want the fight.
They want the fight, but can they get it? Phoenix self-ults. Guess what? Not enough damage. Lorlo wants Smoothie. Goes for it. Gets the attack in. Gets it. But it's another kill in for Impact. Look at this. It's only Lorlo alive against 3 because they kept just walking in one by one. Now it's a 2 versus 3. They're trying to defend under the Nexus turret. Sneaky flashes away. Lorlo getting CC'd, and he's gonna go down. Another kill picked up. Now the chase in, and it's just the Nexus alive. Fabi cannot stop this curtain call. Not gonna mean anything. Meteos walks in, says, "Don't you dare, I'm a fat man," and knocks it down. A 2-0, 36-minute game for Cloud9.
The start looked a little bit rocky for Cloud9 as they were giving up kills, but they always were making the better macro plays, taking the minions, getting ahead in farm, taking the objectives, and eventually getting the game on the back of an incredible LeBlanc performance here. A blind pick from Jensen, which came up huge.
It really did. Highest damage in the game. His teammate, the Ashe, less than 100 behind him, but still, for how scary Liquid's comp looked, right? A lot of very scary divers, snorkel and all. The oxygen tanks were in. They were going deep plenty often. C9 able to withstand all of that, and despite losing kills so constantly, still playing the lanes properly, pushing them out, getting the control they needed, and keeping the gold up despite being down so heavily in champion combat. And once it came down to the right mid-game team fights, they were close. The gold was there, and they outplayed it.
Yeah, and I mean, Sneaky up over 100 CS on Fabi that game. And Fabi was a pretty big non-factor as far as the amount of damage he's able to get out, and he fell behind. Lorlo did not have one of his best games on Aurelia, was not able to kind of use that matchup as you would expect him to be. So he was such a good Aurelia player, and Liquid has had a rough weekend, 0-2 this week, and that's going into playoffs, and it's not the kind of performance you want to come out from when you're going to be going up against CLG.
Certainly not, but CLG even themselves haven't been the most consistent picture of performance. You keep in mind, they also lost to Apex, right? So at least they're kindred spirits here in this case. Apex might be the final playoff team. It depends on how Liquid versus Liquid versus Echo Fox goes. What am I saying? Envy versus Echo Fox. That's the term I was going for. Either way, it's not about this match right now. Cloud9, they are that number 3 seed heading into playoffs. They got I think it's a good-looking 2-0. Game 1 is a smash. Game 2, they show that they were the better team. Even if they lost some champion kills, they could still make the right plays and make that happen. So it's good to see they can win a game that looks like that.
And I think that is the hallmark of a really great team, is the fact that you don't have to get those kills in snowball games. You can actually sometimes have that go the other way. Stay calm, make the right calls, be able to get your advantages elsewhere in kind of the less obvious ways, and try to find edges in other ways.
Yeah, so good stuff by them. Liquid, at least the second game looked better for them. The thing you still saw, though, is they weren't the same macro team that C9 was. That's a weakness that you can see in that team. They're clearly not perfect. They're hoping that it's going to shape up in time for them. They've got roughly 2 weeks until playoffs, I believe. I know next week is going to be the promotion tournament. Playoffs should start after that one. So they've got some time to regroup and say, okay, well, let's try to get back onto this. Yeah. They're going to be playing 6.15, so they've got to play matched lanes some more. And if Fabi and Matt can lane well, then that's fine. If they can't, it's going to make it even harder for them. And these are all difficulties you've got to sort of deal with. They've got to figure out, whether it's a compositional problem, whether it's a strategic problem, but they've got to make sure they're ready to go, because they will play CLG in about 2 weeks, and that's a match they have to win.
And on the other side, it's all rainbows and sunshine for Cloud9 as they finish the season 12-6 and are going to be going into a matchup that they're heavily favored in. Yeah. And if they win against either Envy or Apex, whoever it ends up being, that means that they're guaranteed to go to Toronto. They're guaranteed to go to that finals, and it's just deciding, do you fight for third or do you fight for that first place finish?
Right, and at this point, I think for sure C9 are in, at the very least, the gauntlet run to make a spot for that final trip to Worlds. Their spring split performance in playoffs only made top 6. It wasn't beautiful. Year. Yeah, it was very, very tight. And yeah, C9 made that run, right, in that previous year. So they're in maybe a little bit better standing here, coming in not the 7th place team, but the 3rd seed team, and it looked pretty good. So that's going to do it for us here with this match. Let's down to pastry time for an interview with one of the winners.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Meteos, the Cloud9 jungler. Very strong performance there versus Team Liquid. Were you expecting to come in and just kind of breeze through that 2-0?
I didn't expect us to win 2-0. I thought maybe it would be a closer series, but I'm happy with how we played. And
game number 2 is pretty interesting. Game 1, you guys just came out, honestly, had a really strong showing there. But game 2, it felt like Team Liquid had the aggression, had the ganks happening, but you guys were actually ahead pretty much the whole game, despite it looking so even. Kind of what happened there in that game? How'd you manage to just maneuver such a strong position?
Well, early game, I think we were getting big XP leads through the waves, but they had a lot of catch and they got a lot of good picks on us, so we fell behind in kills pretty hard, but we still felt like we could win. We had a good comp, and we were able to punish their mistakes.
And then, of course, now moving into playoffs, you guys have locked in the 3rd seed a few days ago now. You'll be playing either Envy or Apex, likely Envy, as they are 1-0 up in their series. What are your thoughts on playing what's probably Envy there for your first playoffs match?
Well, we did pretty well versus Envy when we played him in the normal season, but there's a long time between now and playoffs, so I think it's really going to come down to whichever team can prepare better. There'll be the new patch with the turret changes, so hopefully it goes well for us. It's hard to say, but I feel pretty good about it.
And then, of course, as the 3rd place team, you've looked pretty good with all the teams below you, but the top 2 teams above you could cause some problems. What are your thoughts on TSM and Immortals kind of heading into playoffs, even though I know it is a little farther away?
Well, TSM and Immortals have looked basically a tier above all the other teams for like the entire split. I think that they're both extremely good teams. They're very disciplined. They understand the game super well. We can probably beat them in a series if we have to, but it would take us having a really good day.
Well, it's been a great day for you so far. Best of luck in the playoffs, Medias, and thank you for joining me. But we're going to throw it back to the boys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pastry. A 2-0 victory for Cloud9 over Team Liquid heading into our postseason. That's going to be a great confidence boost for them, knowing that anyone below them, essentially, they're going to feel confident against. Now, on the side of Team Liquid, a very worrisome series to get beat as badly as they did.
It was such a strange game 1, really. I think like game 2 was close, and you kind of saw the strengths and weaknesses come through a little bit. They had some early kill leads, but weren't managing the waves quite right. But compared to game 1, where they just didn't even pick a comp that made sense for that team, it was very strange overall.
That's true. Improvement from game 1 to game 2 in the way of champion select for Team Liquid. This is much more reminiscent of a champion select that they are capable of winning.
And the highest damage is your jungler.
Well, that's
Stick 'em on, Sejuani.
That's Team Liquid.
Yeah.
That's Team Liquid. What did we say? Literally, the analyst desk segment for the last game was, why are you putting a player like Dardoch on a champion like Sejuani? Hecarim is much more his wheelhouse.
He gets first blood on the top side. He goes out and solo sneaky. He's just rampant all over the map. But unfortunately, it's not enough, because ultimately it is a team game, and Cloud9 proved to be the better team.
Yeah, and I think one of the major factors there, Mark, was big kill lead for Team Liquid, but still a gold lead for Cloud9 through the majority of the early game, just due to side lane farm.
Right, it was strange because that first kill that he picked up onto Impact, you thought was like, oh, it's going to be really troublesome because Lorlo's going to build a big wave, he's going to get a lot of CS lead, and then he'll eventually be able to take over the game because he has the counter pick as well.
Right.
That never really manifested. Meanwhile, Fabi just kept falling further and further behind, even though, the rest of the team were relatively close in gold, or in farm. It was Fabi constantly falling further behind, which seems to be a bad trend for Team Liquid, where Fabi's always behind. And it's just so hard to win when your AD carry is weak.
Well, I do think that one of the reasons why the AD carry got so weak is also because the competition has that Karma, and you have a LeBlanc on your team. LeBlanc into the Hecarim, the Karma, and the Jhin is able to just go down there and leave her lane, goes into Fog of War, and then your duo lane is just like, all right, we got to actually leave because we're going to get double killed by this one guy. And they have to do that over and over. We got to respect the arrow. So many things that you have to be aware of that it makes it so dangerous for a pick like Jhin to just be able to kind of move and farm.
Yeah, but I would say that there should be some kind of options available for Team Liquid.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you have a Lissandra, that thing's fine in the side lane. You can go for a 1-3-1. You can send your team out in different ways that it's not, you shouldn't fall behind 40 CS or anything like that.
Yeah, very much so. Game did break open, though, at that 30-minute mark. We saw a 5-for-2 win out of C9 in terms of kills, plus a Baron on the back end of it. And we know this team, when they have a Baron, is very good at utilizing it to extend their advantages.
Yep, and you see that they try and go right onto Sneaky at the very beginning. Phoenix self-ults himself instead of just guaranteeing the lockdown CC onto Sneaky. He lives a little bit longer, and leads to this 1-for-1 situation where Lorlo's now dead and C9's looking for the re-engage, and it's just not able to actually kill anyone. When Dardoch goes in, he just kind of splits himself away from his team, so he gets kited out and killed, and then it's just a turn back onto TL once they finally finish dealing with Dardoch.
That CC chain there, too, on the Hecarim was pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, you can kite that pony once his ult's out, which was used earlier on.
Right, yeah. So. I mean, he was successful in zeroing out the AD carry, but Jensen's still very much mobile on that LeBlanc. Doing work in this fight.
Just being able to pick up the
That
number of
just
these
shows
kills.
how many times is Jhin trying to kill these tanks against the likes of a Gragas with GA and the Gnar. You're just never actually going to have the time.
This early into the game, it is so painful
yeah.
to be hitting a tank as Jhin.
Especially from behind, like we were saying, like you kill Sneaky, great, you got their AD carry.
Right.
Your AD carry is not super relevant because he's not ahead or even normal with what the rest of the game is at.
Exactly. So the kill onto Lorlo being just as effective as the kill onto Sneaky, primarily. That was the only fight that really the only real big fight. We did see a 4-for-0 by C9 to follow that, but now with control of the game, that's more expected. Jensen's going to pick up player of the game on this one. Like we said, that LeBlanc, he's got quite a mastery of that champion. Just causing chaos in fights. His positioning's fantastic, making people second-guess pretty much all of their movements.
He's just so deadly on this pick. We've seen him throughout the entire split being able to actually just dish out pressure, single-handedly carry him. While he didn't do that this game exactly, he did have help from the team. I think that he's able to just put so much pressure on the backline that makes him so scared to actually just commit to a fight. When you, even the pick like Lissandra, which is supposed to be a counter into LeBlanc, if you get hit by the QR combo, that's still half your life. So,
right. I think especially considering he blind picked this LeBlanc, it's something that you don't see that often. The fact that he played into, like you said, the counter match of Lissandra and still came out just fine, able to take over the game. Was
even after that silly solo death.
Yeah, that was a little
All right.
unoptimal.
All right, well, Cloud9, they roll into the playoffs off of a victory here. Team Liquid, they're going to have to do some work in this off week before the playoffs start. That is going to conclude our coverage here on NALCS1. But we're going to toss you over to NALCS2, where Team Envy is currently up against Echo Fox. 1 win under their belt. Everything's on the line. If they win here, they make it to playoffs.